Good morning students. Welcome to 12th standard physics class. Today topic is equipotential surface, unit 1. Equipotential means an equipotential surface is a surface on which all the points are at the same potential. But consider a point charge q located at some point in space and an imaginary sphere of radius r is chosen by keeping the charge q and its center. The electric potential at all points on the surface of the given sphere is the same. Such as a surface is called an equipotential surface. For a point charge, the equipotential surfaces are concentric sphere surface as shown in the figure. Each spherical surface is an equipotential surface, but the value of the potential is different for different spherical surfaces. Equipotential surface means sama மின்னழுத்த பரப்பு. That is meaning. Next topic is electrostatic potential energy for collection of point charges. The electric potential at a point at a distance r from the point charge q1 is given by V is equal to 1 by 4 by epsilon naught q1 by r. Already we have studied the formula. This potential V is the work done to bring a unit positive charge from infinity to the point. Now, if the charge q is brought from infinity to the point at a distance r from q1, the work done is the product of q2 and the electric potential at the point. Here q1, q2, q3 are point charges. R is a distance. R1 to distance between A, B. So here 3 point charges are here. The distance also 3 distance. So the work done is stored the electrostatic potential energy. U of system of charge q1 and q2 separated by a distance r. So q1, q2 separate by r. Thus we have U is equal to q2v is equal to 1 by 4 by epsilon naught q1 q2 by r. So the electrostatic potential energy depends only on the distance between the 2 point charges q1, q2, q3. These 3 charges are arranged in the following configuration as shown in the figure. The next topic is electrostatic potential energy of a dipole in a uniform electric field. Consider a dipole placed in the uniform electric field E vector shown in the figure. A dipole expression a torque when kept in a uniform electric field E vector. This torque rotates the dipole to align it with the direction of the electric field. To rotate the dipole from its initial angle theta dash to another angle theta against the torque exerted by the electric field, an equal and opposite external torque must be applied on the dipole. So the work done by the external torque to rotate the dipole from angle theta dash to theta at constant angular velocity is W is equal to from theta dash to theta torque extra d theta. Since torque vector extra means is equal to and opposite to torque E vector is equal to vector P into vector E. So we have torque extra is equal to torque E is equal to vector P into vector E. Okay, so work done is equal to PE cos theta dash minus cos theta. So the work done is equal to the potential energy difference between the angular position theta and theta dash. That's all. The next topic is electric flux. The number of electric field lines crossing a given area kept normal to the electric field lines is called electric flux. It is usually denoted by the Greek letter pi e and its unit is Newton meter square per coulomb. Electric flux is a scalar quantity and it can be positive or negative. The next, electric flux in a non-uniform electric field and an arbitrarily shaped area. Suppose the electric field is not uniform and the area A is not flat. Then the entire area is divided into n small area segments. Says that each area element is almost flat and the electric field over each area element is considered to be uniform. So the segments, small segments del A1, del A2, del A3 up to del AN. So the all are mentioned vector. Okay, the electric flux for the entire area A is approximately written as pi E. Okay, pi E is equal to E1 dot del A1 plus E2 dot del A2 plus E3 dot del A3 up to En dot L del An. Sigma I is equal to 1 to N. E vector I dot del A vector I. So this electric flux. Totally Q pi E is equal to integral of E vector dot dA. So by taking the limit del AI is gives 0 for all I. The summation is equal to given this equation. Okay. Area and orientation of the surface with respect to the electric field. The electric flux depends on both the electric field pattern on the surface area and orientation of the surface with respect to the electric field. The application of Gauss law. First one, electric field due to an infinitely long charged wire. Okay, consider an infinitely long straight wire having uniform linear charge density lambda. Let P be the point located at a perpendicular distance r from the wire. By the electric field at the point P can be found using Gauss law. We choose two small charges elements A1, A2. Two charges are taking. Then which are equal distance from the point P? The resultant electric field due to these two charges elements points radially away from the charged wire, and the magnitude of electric field is same at all points on the electric radius r. Let us choose a cylindrical Gaussian surface of radius r and length L as shown in the figure. The total electric flux in this closed surface is calculated as follows. Pi E is equal to closed integral of E vector dot dA. So, this pi E is equal to curved surface ED is equal to Q enclosed by dA is equal to Q enclosed by epsilon naught. Okay, this curved surface. Since the magnitude of the electric field for the entire curved surface is constant, now capital E is taken out of the integration and Q enclosed is given by Q enclosed is to lambda L. Okay, here pi E is equal to curved surface, integral of curved surface dA is equal to total area of the curved surface is equal to 2 pi r L. Substituting this in the equation, E dot 2 pi r L is equal to lambda L by epsilon naught. E is equal to 1 by 2 by epsilon naught to r. In vector form, E is equal to 1 by 2 by epsilon naught lambda by r unit vector. The Gauss law, pi is equal to q by epsilon naught is equal to h lambda by epsilon naught. So on. Total flux, the pi is equal to pi 1 plus pi 2 plus pi 3. So we substitute the value here, pi 0, pi 2 0. So pi 3 is equal to pi 3. Okay. So pi 3 is equal to integral of S1 d pi is equal to S3 E dot ds, this total. So E ds cos theta. Okay. Here substitute two value. E dot 2 pi r h is equal to h lambda by epsilon naught. Here E dot 2 pi r h is equal to E integral of ds. Okay, so E is equal to H cancelled here, 1 by 2 pi r dot lambda by epsilon naught is equal to E is equal to 1 by 4 by epsilon naught. Okay, next we put the value here, so 1 by r, 1 by r means lambda by r. Okay, so 1 by 2 pi r dot lambda by epsilon naught is equal to E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught to lambda by this value 2 lambda by r. So it is application of Gauss law. Next topic is electric field due to two parallel charge infinite sheet. Consider two infinitely large charged plane sheet with equal and opposite charge densities plus sigma minus sigma, which are placed parallel to each other. The electric field between the plates and outside the plates is found using Gauss law. The magnitude of the electric field due to an infinite charge plane sheet is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. At the points P2 and P3, the electric field due to both plates are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. As a result, electric field at a point outside the plates is 0. But inside the plate, electric field are in same direction. So, on the positive side, other towards the right, the total electric field at point P1 E is equal to E1 plus E2 by sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Then E inside, this is inside towards the right, so is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. The next opposite side, that is negative side. Negative side, same field plus sigma minus sigma. So here E is equal to E1 minus E2. Negative is symbol. Is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught minus sigma by 2 epsilon naught is equal to 0. So negative side 0. That's all. Now inside the value is equal but opposite direction. But outside, in opposite direction, outside the value is 0. That's all. Next, conductors at electrostatic equilibrium. The electric field is 0 everywhere inside the conductor. This is true regardless of whether the conductor is solid or hollow. The next, there is no net charge inside the conductors. The charges must reside only on the surface of the conductors. Next, the electric field outside the conductor is perpendicular to the surface of the conductors and has a magnitude of sigma by epsilon naught, where sigma is the surface charge density at the point. Next, the electrostatic potential has the same value on the surface and inside of the conductor. These are properties of electrostatic equilibrium of a conductor. Next, electrostatic shielding. Using Gauss law, we proved that the electric field inside the charged spherical shell is 0. Further, we showed that the electric field inside both hollow and solid conductors is 0. It is very interesting property of which has an important consequence. But consider a cavity inside the conductor as shown in the figure. Whatever the charges at the surface and whatever the electric disturbance outside, the electric field inside the cavity is 0. So, a sensitive electrical instrument which is to be protected from external electrical disturbance is kept inside this cavity. This is called electrostatic shielding. Faraday cage is an instrument used to demonstrate this effect. It is made up of metal bars configured as shown in the figure. If an artificial lighting jolt is created outside, the person inside is not affected. Next, electrostatic induction. We have learned that an object can be charged by rubbing using an appropriate material. Whenever a charged rod is touched by another conductor, charges start to flow from charged rod to the conductor. Is it possible to charge a conductor without any contact? The answer is yes. This type of charging without actual contact is called electrostatic induction. Consider an uncharged, the neutral, conducting sphere at rest on an insulating stand. During lightning, suppose the charges flow through the body of the conductor is brought near the ground with no effect on the person inside the touching bus. That is shown in the figure. The negative charge of the rod repels the electrons in the conductor to the opposite side. As a result, the positive charges are induced near the region of the charge rod while negative charge on the further side. Before introducing the charge rod, the free electrons we distributed uniformly on the surface of the conductor and the net charge is 0. Once the charge rod is brought near the conductor, the distribution is no longer uniform with more electrons located on the further side of the rod and positive charges are located closer to the rod. Total charge is 0. Okay students, today's topic is over. Today's homework. Already I have sent up to 5 questions. Now I send from 6 to 15 questions. So students, repeatedly watch the video and learn the lesson properly. I have given you homework. Read and understand the questions and answers. And then write the answers 3 times in your classwork note. After writing, send me the answers to my WhatsApp number. Students, read and write the questions with the answers thoroughly. Thank you students. Wish you all success. God bless you.